Hey!
Hey! Don't be coming in all hot like that, man!
Was that a little aggressive?
Yeah, a little.
Sorry.
What's up?
So did you see that we're almost at 60,000 followers on TikTok?
I did see that. How awesome is that?
I mean, pretty dang awesome if you're asking me, but not for nothing, but we're kind of good at this.
Hey, let's not let it go to our head now.
You don't let it go to your head. Tell me. Tell you. Do you think we should do something for that? I feel like we should.
I suppose we should. But what?
Well, I was thinking maybe do like a live stream? What do you think?
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, I know, that's why I had it.
Well done.
But there is a bit of a problem.
What's up?
What if people miss it?
Well, what if I just did it here? In case somebody misses it, then they still get the full experience. What do you think?
Now that, good sir, is an excellent idea. I'm gonna leave you to it. Let's paint a galaxy. Welcome back. Now, I have been gaining a bit of a following on TikTok, which is fantastic. If you're not following me there, I'll link it down below so you can go ahead and do that. Also, if you're not subscribed to this channel, why not, first of all? Secondly, do that, because this content's awesome. But anyway, look, I'm gonna paint this canvas black. You take a quick break, grab yourself something to eat or drink, because we have a lot of work to do on this galaxy, and I don't want you to miss a thing. So do that, and we'll be right back. What are you still doing here? Go! Get yourself some... Oh. I know what I forgot to do. I'm an idiot. Welcome back. Okay, so we're going to do something a pinch different than we normally do on this channel. Today we're going to use a sponge. Usually for a background of a galaxy, it's really smoky, and these work really well. And I split this in 3. These are really cheap. You can get these pretty much anywhere. It doesn't have to be this porous either. I got this at Blit for like $1.50. So you can use that. But what we want to do is we want to create a nice smoky background. We're going to sort of mirror the image today and create some trees. And we'll get to that. But for now, we just want to use our sponge. You see that guy right there? So let's take it down here. And right along the edge of this sponge, I'm going to start and just sort of pull a little bit of blue. Just kind of like that. Now, when we want to mirror this image, we want to make sure that we don't necessarily cover the exact same area. We don't have to make it precise. You follow? So when I do this, I'm just going to push this in. You're going to notice that it's a little tough to see against a black canvas. We're going to change that in a second here. So I just want to start dabbing this in first. So let's sort of pull this around here. Maybe there's some kind of pushes its way this way. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of tapping today. A fun little tapping. Now, when you do this, only use this part. You see that? See how I'm not using the back or this side, anything like that? I just want to use one part for now, because we're going to use this whole sponge in a bit of a different way in a second. Let's see how I'm just tapping it in. Maybe there's some that kind of lives over here. Tap, 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 tap. Maybe a little pocket of blue somewhere around this area. I don't know. It kind of goes that way. Another little pocket of blue. There's some in the middle here. Pulls through. Oh boy, I don't know. Like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just tapping it in right now. See? You could kind of see that blue a little bit here. See that? It's a little dark, but it'll come together in just a second. There are parts of this painting that move really slow, so I need you to know that in some of these, even though it's one continuous painting, see kind of like if I do this and then come up this way and then back this way, it's all one continuous painting, but I might speed a few areas up just to keep it smooth and keep your interest, really, because this can get really tedious and really boring really fast. I promise you that. Okay, so we have this area. Let's, oh gosh, I don't know, we'll pull it here a little bit. All right. Now with this still on this sponge, we don't want to turn it in any way. What we want to do is pull a bit of white. If you notice, I have white sections in here, so we don't contaminate any of the paint right now. Then I'm going to pull this, and when I start to do that, it's going to become a nice light blue color. See that? That's pretty. Oh, look at how pretty that is. All right, we kind of want to pull it this way a little bit. All right, just mirroring our image. Maybe it cuts this way. It's very loose, and the tap that we're doing is very loose. We're going to create that smoky area in a second. We'll see what I mean. Okay. So now we want to soften this up a little bit and create a nice nice gradient between the colors. So with this like this, I'm going to turn it and I'm going to use the clean end. And right in the middle, I'm going to tap between the blue, the dark blue, and the light blue. And as I do that, you'll see it'll start to smoke up a little bit. It's a little foggy. Right? It takes away a little bit of that harshness of the lighter color and the darker color. You can kind of do that all the way around. All right? We just want a nice smooth transition. All right? You can even, when you do this, you can even turn it like this. By the way, I'm wearing a glove just so I don't get my hands dirty because I'm going to be switching between them. You do not have to wear a glove. I need you to know that. It is not a requirement. You can always just wipe your hands off, but, you know, given time, I'm just going to continue to do it this way with a glove on. All right, smoke up this area on the end here. All right, see how I'm not pushing. I'm like taking the edge of the sponge and giving a little turn. Just to give us a bit of a smokier edge. And you can tap too. You know, just so we're clear, you don't have to buy a sponge. If you have a dish sponge at home, that'll work too. Make sure it's not wet, make sure it's clean. You don't want food particles in your painting. That's super gross. Alright, something like that. Now we're gonna do the same thing over here. And when you do this, just pick a few spots. It doesn't necessarily need to be anywhere specific. Maybe it kind of cuts like this. Same thing here, right? We want to mirror it as much as we can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So that's around like that. Something like that. Right, we'll smoke it up here a little bit. Maybe there's some over here, a little looser. I don't know, maybe there's something here. I'm just kind of going for it. There's no wrong way to do this. It's wherever you want to tap. Now remember, I'm just here to help you through the steps, not dictate what looks good to you. So if you want to take the technique and create your own sort of background, feel free to do that. I love that idea. It's completely up to you. Remember, if you want to make it a bit foggier, you take that clean end, right, or that dry end without any actual paint on it, and you sort of play around with it. Right, see how I'm tapping, but I'm not really going crazy with it here. Some here, some here. Gosh, I don't know. Here, we step back out of the way so you can see that. See? Yeah, something like that. There's a little bit here, maybe. You can even go back, grab a little bit more regular blue if you want to deepen those colors a little bit. And something like that. I like that. That's pretty. Yeah, something like that. All right, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to put it to the side for a second. That was loud. Now, I'm going to switch to some red just to get a nice deeper color in here. I'm going to take this glove and I'm going to, you know what I should do? This. See, even I miss some things sometimes. It's okay. I'm gonna see something like that. Yeah, I kept my hand clean. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna switch the glove and I'm gonna switch the sponge. Now, by the way, I bought this big sponge and I just cut it, so you don't necessarily need to buy 3 different sponges. So when I do this, I'm gonna do the exact same step, and I'm gonna fill some of these darker areas in with just some red to create a little contrast. Now I'm gonna do the same thing I did before, where I'm gonna grab straight red, right on the edge of the sponge brush, right on the edge of the sponge. You see that? And maybe we'll fill it in here. There's some here. I'm just tapping it right now. I'm not really doing anything crazy because I want to get that color in there first. Just fill in some of these areas. You can even tap into the blue if you want. That's also really okay. Maybe there's some over here. I don't know. Gosh. Whatever you like. Remember, this is is your painting. You do you. There's some right there. Why not? It's pretty. I mean, it comes this way a little. Just sort of pokes through. Maybe they connect in here somewhere. Okay. I like my voice. Beautiful, isn't it? All right. Same concept. I'm gonna grab a little bit of white. I'm gonna pull it into that red, so it's a bit of a pinkish color. Maybe around this area, there's some pink. Maybe around here, there's some pink, right? Just sort of lightens it up a little. And maybe it comes through this way, around here. Just to tap it in there. Tap, 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 tap. That's what you get. Look at that. A song and a painting. Alright, so taking the other end, pulling that through, really fogging it up together. There's some deeper colors. Hold this here so I can tap a little bit more. Maybe it fogs this way a little. Jeez, I don't know. That seems pretty enough. I'll just fog it a little. So it works its way this way. I just basically tapped a little bit of that lighter color onto the red. Just so this. That's pretty good. Tap a little bit here. Alright, if there's a little bit of lighter color coming through and a little bit of a darker color, we want that, right? It's a galaxy after all. All those colors are just moving around any way they want to. Just like you should be doing. Just moving them around any way you want. There's no real wrong way to do this. If you tap some in here. Sheesh, I don't know. Bring it in this way. Okay. Alright. Let's take a step back. You should always take a step back from your painting, look at it from a different perspective because it helps. It's really important. So take a step back, look at it, see if it's what you want. Like that. I like it. Alright, what I want to do here is I'm going to keep this glove on. What I want to do is I'm going to pull this together a little bit. When I step back, I look at it, I want to pull some of this black in. Grab just a pinch of it, dab it a little bit just to darken it up here. Just so I maintain a little bit of that galaxy feel. A little bit more black, dab it in. So the black and the blue kind of mesh together. Why not, right? So it's like a dark blue and they kind of fade into one another. I'm basically recreating some darker spots that maybe if you eliminated, you can go back and tap in with a little bit black. See? Creating a little bit more black area. So here, maybe it works its way this way. Gosh, I don't know. Something like that. All right. I'm going to switch that glove again. Again, you don't need to do that. That's just my preference. So I don't get my hands all messed up when I'm trying to teach you how to paint this. Now I'm going to switch, I got one more sponge. I'm going to switch this one here and I'm going to keep it clean and I'm going to create some cloudy areas. So I'm going to grab just some straight white. Now this is going to be super aggressive at first. So this is the time where you have to make some real decisions in where you want these clouds to live. So I think I'm going to put one in this area here, right between the red and the blue. Now when you do this, tap lightly first, right? Maybe the foot sort of comes like this. Tap lightly, we just want the edge of it to sort of live in our painting right now. We don't want it to overwhelm the painting. You see how aggressive that can be? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the edge and I'm going to smoke it up. Nice and smoky. It's a key word here today, smoky. See, I'm doing that little turn. Remember that little turn we were doing earlier? Alright, something like that. turn we were doing? Tapping it but turning it at the same time. Alright, now with that white area, I'm going to go back, just giving myself a little bit more of a smoky area. Right? We're going to go back and forth here. We want to do that. We're going to go back and forth. I don't know. Right, but it sort of blends in. Even if you tap it, it kind of just blends in, fades away a little. Oh man, that's pretty. We like that. Remember, take a step back and see how it looks. Ooh. All right. So with the edge of a cloud always is a little bit brighter than it is toward the foggy area. So we're going to go back. I'm going to grab a little bit more white like that. And again, I'm going to tap it. Give it a nice push. See that? Nice little push toward the edge. Alright, and then go back. We're just kicking that paint around. Maybe it cuts this way a little. Just a little foggy, a little cloudy. Around the edge, a little foggy, a little cloudy. Oh, that's pretty. Remember, a little foggy, a little cloudy. See that? So nice and easy, super simple. Super simple. You can even use the corner to fog out a little bit more for yourself. It's up to you, really. We don't want to pull the paint around. We want to smooth it out together. Remember, that's important. Smooth it out together. Not pulling it around the canvas. Just trying to smooth those areas out. Oh, maybe there's one. Let's make another one. Let's make another one here. Alright, kind of cuts this way. I don't know, something like that. Oh, look at that, it's pretty. Cuts this way. This one's a little looser. I don't know. This one's a pinch looser. Get that nice little edge to it. Cut all the way through. Didn't even stop it in the middle. Just cut all the way through. Don't worry about it. Fog it up at the edges, pulling it through. Remember, we're not pushing the paint around. Just making it go together. Maybe it cuts this way like this. It's all up in the air. Who knows? Whatever you want. Whatever you want. It's your painting. Remember? Take a step back. You take a step back, kind of looks like a little eagle, right? All right, so let's put that to the side. And what we want to do now is we're going to create some stars. Every galaxy has some stars, and that's what we need to do here. So the way to do stars is to sort of splatter them on. And unfortunately, when it comes to keeping clean, there is no way to make splatter marks without making a pinch of a mess. So I'm going to teach you how to do this in a very effective way so you don't get it everywhere all over your home or wherever you're painting. Now today this is a bright brush. I'm going to be using a bright brush, and it's a natural bristle brush. I feel that these work the best only because with a natural bristle, they got a bit of a spring. It's like a snap right back. So if you look here, I'm going to grab a little bit of water. I'm going to really soak this brush right at the edge. And then I'm going to pull out some white. And I want that white to be almost like a watercolor. Pull it in there a little bit. That was cool. All right, kind of like that. It's very watery. That's important. Okay, so now that I have that, this is what my brush looks like. If you could see, it's super duper watery. It's important. So whenever you splatter paint from a brush, it goes from the top. It doesn't happen from the side, it doesn't happen from the edge. It goes whoosh, out right from the top. So if I were to go like this and smack the brush on my hand, it would go up. Some would come out, but it would also go up. So instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our thumb and just run it across the bristles of the brush, kind of like this, okay? And when I do that, I wanna face the brush tip toward the canvas. And this is going to happen. Whatever direction you have that in, it's going to create little splatter marks. Oh, did you see that? I'll clean that up. Trying not to get it on my black shirt. I realize now that wearing a black shirt while white splatters, I should have thought ahead a little bit, but I didn't. I'm an idiot. Leave me alone. Don't judge me. I can feel your judgment. I don't appreciate it. Grab a little bit more. There's some over here. Alright, just these little flicks. That's all we're doing. Little flicks. We don't need a ton. Well, I guess it's up to you. If you really want to fill that area with some splatter marks, like that, it's completely up to you. Push them around a little bit, but not aggressive. Don't bully them. Okay, that's enough for me. I'm gonna throw that in there. Don't forget to wipe your thumb off, or your finger, whichever one you were using. I'm gonna wipe down my area here. Keeping it clean. You know, you gotta keep it clean. All right. So now that we have that on there, let's create a bit of a foreground. Let's do something fun. Since it's a mirrored image, let's do a galaxy with some trees, something a bit more, something to pull out our background by putting a silhouette in the foreground. So to make trees, we first have to make our horizon line. Now I'm going to switch here to a synthetic bright brush. This is a 1/4 inch, I think, bright brush. And we're going to create a line toward the middle just to present a horizon line. Now I'm going to grab some black here. This line doesn't even really matter. It's just a guideline. So I'm going to pull it right through the middle. This is just so I know where I'm going to put my land. So, because the tree's got to live on something, right? Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm just going to wave it around. Maybe it kind of goes like this, something like that. Now here's the tricky part. When you do this, you have to make it almost the same, because these are a mirrored image, this has to be a mirrored image. And you have two options here. You can either take this canvas and spin it completely around and do the exact same thing, and that'll be all the way through. Or the bottom, when it's closer to the line, you have to sort of bring it closer to the line. I know that kind of makes sense. Just follow along here with what I'm doing. You ready? So it comes out, gets closer to the line, then farther away, then closer, then farther away. Something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, because we're going to fill it in here. All right. Double time. I recommend when you do fill it in to get the edges first. Give yourself a larger margin of error. Had to see what I was doing. The light's kind of throwing me off a little bit. Okay, so here's where it gets a little fun. Now with this, we need to make some trees. Now, with the trees, when we try to make a mirror image, it'll take you forever to try to go like this, do all the ones across, and then do them down here and go through. So I'm gonna teach you a little trick. Whenever you're making a mirrored image of a tree, especially in land, the smartest thing to do is take the line and just go all the way through, kind of like that. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Maybe there's one tree that lives here, just so we have sort of an idea. And when you do this painting specifically, we want to make sure that they're separated far enough apart, so maybe an inch apart, but we don't want them all the same size. That's important. And we also don't want them to go like big to small. Like it doesn't want to go like this, right? We want maybe some big ones here, some small ones here, sort of like this. Now I know those aren't an inch apart. Don't judge me. Is your judge today? It's not really you. It's a personal thing, I guess. Something like that. About an inch apart from one another. That's simple. That's it. We don't even need that brush anymore. Okay, so to make pine trees, that's what we'll do. We'll do pine trees. To make pine trees, I usually use a fan brush. If you've ever seen me do a pine tree, you know I do a fan brush. But I understand that there are people who don't yet have a fan brush, which is fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to do it with a bright brush first, and then I'm going to switch to my fan brush, just so you can see it. We'll take this one since it's in the white. So it sort of works the same way as a fan brush does. The only difference here is that this one doesn't come out as far because the bristles are smaller. So you tap it in the same way you do with the fan brush, and as you work your way down, you fan it out so it comes to the front, and you just kind of do this zigzag back and forth. Now remember, this is important. Do not go in a giant triangle like this because you'll have a big hulking Christmas tree in your painting, right? See how I kept it relatively short all the way through? It doesn't go like this, right? It's not really big here. That's important when you're using a brush like this because when you use a fan brush, it's got its own sort of width and you kind of follow that. So that's important, okay? Don't forget that. Okay. So I'm going to take that and put it to the side. Now I am going to switch to my fan brush, and I'm going to speed through these trees. I'll show you the first one just so you can sort of get an idea, and then I'm going to speed through them just so we don't waste too much of your time. So I'm going to grab some of my black here, and let's do this one here just so we can see it. Now again, same way. I'm going to tap it with the corner. You can even tap it like this if you want, just to create a bit more of an edge. And then as you tap down, you sort of fan the brush out like this. And the brush sort of takes care of the rest. Kind of like that. All right, so let's go double time on 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's slow it down here for a second. Now you have two options here. You can either do them from the bottom, working your way up if you feel comfortable, and if not, feel free to take that canvas and just spin it right around. Now, I'm going to do that for you just so you can sort of see the idea here. And what's cool about this one too is if you do spin it around and you like it better the other way, you have a mirrored image, so it won't really matter. Back to double time. I kind of want one more right here. Maybe you don't even need the line. The line's just an idea. You can even come right from underneath. Here's how you do it from the bottom up. Same way, you're just basically reversing it, right? Just like this. Right, you got one here. Right, maybe you got another one here. Same way, just reversing it. Do the tap. Kind of like that. Okay, so we're done with the trees. That's a little tedious, but hey, you know what? We made it. We got it. We got through it, and I'm proud of you. Well done. All right, so let's create a few more stars. Now, a galaxy doesn't only have the background stars. We need some actual stars in here, and I'm going to show you an easy way to do that. And this is universal to any brush you would use. And part of, you know what, I'll just take this fan brush. So any brush has a sort of a softer round bottom, kind of like this. If you look, you see that? Softer. Bring it close to my face. See that? So we're going to use the bottom of that brush, and I'm just going to simply tap the brush, put a little bit of white on there like that, and I'm going to use that to sort of make these perfect circles. Really simple. Now remember, you got to mirror them vaguely. Like that. Let's go crazy. Corner here. How fast I'm going. I'm not even actually double timing this. That's just how fast I'm going there. Something like that. Yeah, that's good enough. Let's have a really big one right here. And then right there. So we have some different sizes. You know what this could actually use? A comet. So let's take. Now I'm going to use, to make a comet, you know what we'll do? So we put these two dots in here, they got a lot of paint on them. Instead of actually using any of the paints, I'm going to take, this is called a script brush. This is basically a long round brush. So if you have a small round brush, something with it looks a little bit shorter than the bristles on this, works the same way. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, we'll start at the top here, and I'm basically just pulling this paint. So kind of like that. So then we've got our mirrored image. Got a nice little comet. Can't really complain about that. You know what? I actually like where it's at. The one thing I do want to show you is whenever you put those lines through, you'll get these little lines that come through your painting, right? Your little land there. So you want to sort of pull those together. Let's use a bit of a bigger brush here. I'm going to wet this a little bit. Not keep it wet, just to keep it straight. So you could do this in two ways. You can pull it through just to smooth out the paint, or you could take a little bit of color, a little bit of that black, and pull it through if maybe you didn't put enough to begin with. It's completely up to you. Right? You can pull the paint that's already in there around, or maybe you waited too long and you let it dry. All right, see, something like that. That's just to smooth it out. But I think that's it. I think we're done with this painting for today. See how easy that is? It's just a little tedious, takes a little bit of time. But you know, the one thing that you have to do with your paintings every time, and if you've ever followed my paintings before, you know this, is you have to sign it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because your signature is your stamp of approval. You are saying to yourself, you know what? I'm done with this painting and I'm not going to touch it anymore. So if there's anything you want to do to your painting after we're done here, if you want to make a few more trees or a few more stars, do that before you sign it. Because once you sign it, you are finished. That will conclude the class for today. Let me sign this here and show you where I sign mine. The most popular usually is the bottom right side of the canvas. So there's my signature. And that will conclude the lesson for today. As always, thank you so much for deciding to spend a few minutes of your day with me. It is always much appreciated. Don't forget, like and subscribe this video. Hit the bell icon if you want to get notified of further videos as they drop. But with that, have a great day. Peace.